Good morning, dear participants. Hearty welcome to this one-day international conference. Good morning to all once again, and we are very happy to be with you on this day. Greetings from St.Teresa Arts and Science College for Women, Mangalakunchu. I am very much delighted to introduce our resource person, T. Muthu Vijayaraj, MCA, Assistant Professor, Department of IT, VHNSN College, Vridhanagar. He's an apt person for today's seminar. He's an interested person in software management. He has 10 years of academic experience specializing in software development. His working his working area is a wide area. He has worked as Hindustan Software Private Limited as software programmer. He works as an assistant professor. Also, he works as an Android app developer and software trainer. He also guides many students in Android developing projects. He was resource person for more than 30 international and national conferences. He also attended more than 14 conferences. Such a great person we have today as our resource person, and he is going to present his valuable ideas on mobile application development. Let us cordially invite him. Welcome, sir. Welcome to this session.
Morning, ma'am.
So we are very happy to have you, sir, as our resource person.
Thank you, ma'am.
And we humbly invite you to take over the session.
Yeah, sure, ma'am. So, good morning to all. It's my pleasure to handle this session organized by Department of Computer Science of St.Teresa Arts and Science College for Women, Mangalakundu. I thank Jita ma'am and Sahaya Dani ma'am for organizing this such a wonderful webinar. And I'm going to handle mobile application development, which is a recent trend in, nowadays in industry. Hope it will. It is just an eye opener, which will help all the participants to learn about the Android app development and how to create a simple Android app, and what are the essential things that run behind the app development. So let us start the session. Ma'am, shall we start?
Yes, yes. Sure, okay. Sir.
So, I can share my screen now?
Yes.
So, mobile app development. So nowadays in industries, there are a lot of openings, particularly in this area. It means there are more openings for Android developers as well as iOS developers. So when compared to iOS, Android is an open source platform. So the field with many opportunities like a UI designer and then an AP developer. There are lots and lots of things of openings for the especially for the freshers in the mobile app development. So through this session, we just share our thoughts regarding the mobile app and how to implement the app. So before entering into the implementation stage, we just go through what is Android and what are its features and some more things. So first of all, we have to know what is Android. So there are three key points which is more suitable for Android programming. So Android is an open source. It is a Linux-based operating system, and it is a consortium of Open Handset Alliance. So it means uh, all of us know that Android is a mobile operating system, and we are using maximum in Indian market. We are using more number of Android phones. So as Android is an open source, we are easy to implement a simple task inside it. So whenever we open our Play Store account, it's easy for us to implement our APK inside the Play Store, and we can access through the Play Store. So full app development and the SDK library files provided are open source. So, and compared to iOS, Android is the cheapest one and easy to implement. So, and second point we have to consider is Linux-based operating system. Kindly note it, it is not a Linux operating system, it is a Linux-based operating system. That means um, in so drivers used in Android are based on the Linux platform. So the basic drivers and the basic library files are based on the Linux operating system. So the basic things that are used in Linux operating system is also used here in Android operating system. The third point we have to focus is Open Handset Alliance. It is just a group, it is a consortium, and nearly 84 companies are registered in this Open Handset Alliance. The main aim of this OHA is uh, whoever the company registered here shall use the Android platform in their device. For example, LG, Samsung, Oppo, Vivo are all the companies who have registered in Open Handset Alliance Consortium. So these are the three things we have to learn what is an Android. So next, just a quick overview of history. So, all of us know that Andy Rubin is the founder of the Android platform. So he only developed the Android programming in October 2003. His company is named Android Incorporation Inc., which is situated in Palo Alto, California. Uh, During that period, he was not able to um, she was not able to market the Android software worldwide. So just his company is a small concern. So he developed tiny apps using this Android platform. Later, Google acquired his company in August 2005, and then Google only launch the Android platform worldwide in a quick and efficient way. So he appointed the Andy Rubin as the key employee along with Rich Miner, Nick Sayers, and Chris White. So this is the basic history. So these are all the Android versions. So as we know, Android versions are coming in an alphabetical order. So first version is Apple Pie. Someone called it as Astro, and then B for Blender, and then Cupcake. So from Cupcake only, the world know that there is a platform called Android, and which is used for the smartphone culture, um, along with the iOS. So Cupcake, and then for D, donut, and then eclairs, and then froyo, gingerbread, honeycomb, ice cream sandwich, jelly bean, Kit Kat, lollipop, marshmallow, nougat, Oreo, and now pie. So these are all the versions. So all of them are in alphabetical order along with some API levels and then version names. So see V4.0, V2.3, V4.1, V7. So these are all the version names, and each version have some API levels. So these the API levels will help the developer to include the library files inside the project. So these are the APIs and its levels. So version and then code name with the API level. So in the beginning for Cupcake, the API level is 3, and now for Pi, the API level is 28. Nearly the levels are so much increased. For example, uh, in the older version of Android, we cannot implement Google Maps in an efficient way. So Google Maps comes in an efficient manner in the version of Jelly Bean, maybe on ice cream sandwich. So nowadays we are using 2D games, like 2D and 3D games also we are playing in an Android device. So these these API levels help the uh, developer to implement the features used in the Android inside their app. That means if we want to use Google Maps or 2D or 3D files inside our app, it is not possible to include it in the versions up to ice cream sandwich. So after that only the platform is more platform becomes more flexible and user friendly. So each API levels have included some special features which is not present in the past API levels. Also, we have to note that in the application development, if we develop an app in Pi environment, we are not able to. I'm sorry, there is a noise.
Okay, participants, please mute your mics. Already we have muted your mics. So if you anybody enabled your mics, please mute your mics. Please mute your audio. Don't sit near to the TV or any sound making materials.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am. Yeah. So if we develop an app in a Pi environment, we are not able to run that app in Marshmallow or Nougat devices. That particular app which is developed in Pi environment is only runnable in Pi devices only. So if we want to develop an app, recently in industry, they are using the API levels from 22 and 23 onwards. That means previous versions of Androids are now deprecated. That means nearly up to Jelly Bean, the Android versions are not supported in many more devices. So from the KitKat and Lollipop, even Marshmallow, if we buy a new phone, that means it will comes under Oreo or Pi versions only. So we have to develop an app which support nearly 80% of devices. That's the main thing we have to note it through this API levels. For example, if in company related things, we use Marshmallow versions. So uh, you have maybe you can have some queries that Marshmallow contains the API level 23 and Pi with 28. So there may be nearly 5 difference between the API levels. So how can we implement those features inside our app? This is not a big thing because maximum features in the inside the app or comes under the levels 22 and 23. So other levels are just for supporting some extra things only. That's not a problem inside it. So this is the Android architecture. So as a part of Android development, we have to learn about the Android architecture. So mainly Android architecture is focused only on the four things. That means application framework, libraries, Linux kernel, and then Android runtime. Android runtime is the supporting one. So Linux kernel, as we seen in the first slide, Android is a Linux-based operating system. So here Linux kernel contains all the essential drivers needed to run an app. For example, camera. So camera driver is present here. So we are always using camera inside the phone. So how a camera can be accessed? It means Linux kernel provided a camera driver, and the camera driver can be accessed by the library files. So library files means, for example, if we take a media framework means, so in that media related things, there may be some supporting files inside it. So using that library files, we can access the camera driver. So what is the use of application framework? That means it is a manager. So it acts like a bridge between the application and the libraries of an app. So then what is that application means? The full and full user perspective. User who can see the icons inside our phone is the application. For example, home, contacts, phone. For example, there is an application called camera. So camera, when we click on the camera icon, a camera will be open. How it will be open? It sends a message to the application framework. So application framework listens to the message. So what the user need is, so then based on the user need, it it make a call from the manager to the library. So then with the help of that library, the Linux kernel is accessed, and from the Linux kernel, the camera will be opened. So all these things are run in easy point means, yeah, like an exe file. So that exe files are generated through the Android runtime libraries. So these Android runtime libraries consist of a Dalvik virtual machine and then core libraries. So core Java libraries. So when we write the code, all the codes are compiled using the core Java libraries, and the Dalvik virtual machines convert that source file into an Dalvik executable file, which is further converted into the APK file, which we are all used in the Play Store. So only APK files are uploaded in the Play Store, and we also install that APK file inside our device. So this is the basic Android architecture. So each and every manager have separate responsibilities, and each and every library also have different functionalities, and these are all the basic drivers. So these are some features in Android. So handset layouts. So in the handset layouts, we can use multiple types of devices. Someone in 5 inch, someone in 6 inch, and someone we have used 7 inch or 9 inch tabs. So all the layouts are supported in the particular app. And then connectivity, Wi-Fi, and then messaging, multiple language support. That means regional languages are included, and then web browsers. Either Chrome is the default browser. Other than the Chrome browser, we can use UC browser, Opera, and there may be anything. And then media support, streaming media. That means in YouTube, and then video calling, tethering, hotspot functionalities, multitasking. We can chat as well as we can hear the songs, and then screen capture. We can easily screenshot our current process, and then external storage. So all these things are basic features, and which are supported by most of the apps. So next one is the Android development environment. So so the above, sorry. So the previous slides, which tells us what are all the basic of Android programming. So now we entered into the development environment. Here we focus on what are all the basic components used to develop an Android app. So these are the three components: Java, IDE, and then Android SDK. Java. So if we want to become an Android app developer, we definitely must want to know about the Java platform. So uh, as Java is a wide area, we need not to uh, use all those techniques inside our Android app. Instead, we use basic core level programming. That means up to packages and then interfaces. We have to compulsorily know about the programming. So this is the language we are going to write our code to develop an Android app. And then IDE, so integrated development environment. Here only we are going to write our Java code. That IDE, we can use any type of IDE, but Google recommend Android Studio. Android Studio is the best one for developing Android apps. So we can use Eclipse, IntelliJ, NetBeans. So what are all the IDE platforms that support Android application development? We can use it as an we can use it. So and then Android SDK. So from the last side, we note down that libraries and then drivers, there are so many files. So that files are all present in the Android SDK. So this is the collection of utilities and files which are to be used to develop an Android app. So from this components, we just know that IDE is the bridge between the Java programming and then Android SDK. So used based on this usage of these three things, we develop a simple app. And then application components. So in the previous slide, we mentioned about the development environment. Here we move on to the application development, sorry, components. So there are four main types of components. If you develop a huge app or a small app, it all comes under these four components. That means activities, services, broadcast receivers, and then content providers. First of all, activities. So what is an activity? Activity is nothing but to do something. So when we there is a camera icon. When we click on the camera is open, and we capture. When we click on the capture button, it captures an image of a person. That's all. So it is an activity. UI related. That means user interface related process all comes under the activities. And then services. So services means background processing. That means when we go to sleep, we set an alarm. So alarm is a service which runs in the background for nearly 6 or 7 hours of time. After that 7 hours of completion, it automatically rings to wake us. So it is a background service. So that type of it's alarm is an example. So there may be lots and lots of services which are running background. For example, nowadays for this COVID-19 issue, um, government initiated us to download Arogya Setu app. So in Arogya Setu app, if we install it in our device, it always running in background to monitor our complete status through Bluetooth or from locations. So that is also a background processing app. And then broadcast receivers. So broadcast receivers means it's a purely for communication process to send and receive notifications or intimate some notifications or alerts to the user. We can use broadcast receivers. For example, battery low is a message, alert message, which is displayed to the user when the battery is low or one message is received or one missed call, like this. And then content providers, it's a purely depend upon the database management. It's a best example for the content provider is our phone book. That means contacts. So we can store our contacts names, photos, and then their numbers, emails, all under our phone memory. So this is the best example for the content providers. So uh, as Android uses a SQLite database. That means it is a lightweight database which is used for a simple applications. If we want to move on to a larger type of applications like online shopping or online banking related things, we move on to the external database by like Oracle or MySQL. So activities life cycle. So just note on create, on start, on resume, on pause, on restart, on stop, on destroy. These are all the methods which are included in the activity life cycle. So once the activity is created and then it will be resumed, it will be restart, on stop or pausing, and final stage is destroy. So activity creation to the destroying time, what are all the uh, methods it will move on to is the thing we mention here. Sorry. So once it created, it becomes to the visible stage. If it is paused, it goes to the partial visible stage. If it's stopped, it will move on to the hidden stage. If it's destroyed, it completely uh, removed from that device. So layouts. So in Android app development, there are two kinds of jobs available. It means I'm not interested in. If someone says I'm not interested in Java, I cannot uh, uh, capture what are all the logic behind that programming things. You don't worry. There is another opportunity in Android, which is called the UI designer. That means it's full based on XML. So in the XML, we just create the design. That means if we design a login form, there is a username and then password, a submit and cancel button. This is the UI design. So uh, by using Java, we write that what are all the things we capture from the uh, text box, and what are all the things are going to be happen when we click on the button. So a simple task is the designing process, and a complicated task is the API code. That means API calling. So there are two categories. One is designing, UI designing. Another one is API level programming. So designing, we need to know about the XML programming, and for API, we must know about the Java programming. So layouts is the structure for an user interface. It uses XML, or we can design in runtime through the help of Java code. But using XML only is the recommended thing, because when we design at a runtime, it will result in some layout issues. So it's not recommended to develop during the runtime process. So here, view groups and views. This is the view hierarchy. That means a view group is a layout manager, and inside the layout manager, there will be many kinds of views. For example, if we imagine a login screen, so the login screen is a view group, and inside that there is two text box and then two buttons which are called as views. So this is the basic. And these are all the some of the UI controls which are frequently used to develop an app. So text view, it is just an label and then button, and then we have use image view for used to display images. Image button, inside the button there will be an image. Edit text, edit text is the text box which is used to get the input from the user. And then checkbox, radio buttons, toggle buttons, that means switches on or off, progress bar, loading process, autocomplete text view. It is just when we enter the some text inside it, it automatically displays what are all the related things have to insert. and then date and time picker, and then analog and digital clocks. So these are all the components. Other than this, there are so many components inside the UI palette, but these components are most commonly used one. So from the basic things we learn, we just enter into the uh, development environment. So before enter into the environment platform, we just look on to the uh, one application. So this is called as a virtual device. So it is similar to our mobile phone. So what are all the things we have used inside our physical device? It all comes under the virtual device. But two things we cannot implement. That means one is calling purpose, and then camera purpose. That means we are not able to send messages or making some calls using the virtual device. So it needs service provider. We have no SIM card to insert into the virtual device. It is uh, just an emulator. That means uh, what are all the things in a real, it mimic itself. So that we can see one application. So this is our environment, Android Studio. So inside the Android Studio, for example, an SDK manager. Here you can see Android SDK. So this is the package that I have downloaded from the internet to use inside the development. So a complete step-by-step procedure needs a long time to explain. So I just explain what are all the things basically needed to develop an Android app. So within the short period of time, we cannot explain all the things. So I developed one application. So this is our working environment. So this is the application structure. Means app and then Gradle. So Gradle contains the dependency files. And we look onto the dependencies. You see, compile SDK version is 26, build tools version is 28. This particular app need a minimum SDK version as 18, then target SDK version as 26, and here you can see the activity libraries. So these libraries are all comes under this build files. And where we include some more features means we move on to this Gradle file, and we can compile or implement those library inside our application. So These are the two main sources: activity main.xml, which is for designing purpose, and main activity.java. This is for the Java code. So here you can see uh, the list of folders: a manifest folder, Java, source folder. This generated folder we cannot use because it is an automatically generated one. If we touch this generated folder, means it will result in errors. So resources. So inside the resource, there may be lot of subfolders. That means drawable layouts. Inside that layout only, you can see the activity main, mipmap. So mipmap and drawable both are same. Both includes images inside it, values. So here in values, there may be colors, strings, styles, and then dimensions. That means if we use some colors inside our app, we have to mention it in colors.xml. If we use some strings inside our app, we have to use strings.xml. So we can style our buttons, we can style our whole application using this styles.xml. So we just use the layout in today's session. So inside the layout, you can see there is an XML. So as already mentioned, an XML file contains a layout manager, and inside the layout manager, we can use multiple components. You see these components here I mentioned UI palette. So inside the UI palette, you can see text view, button, image view, recycler view, fragments, switches, scroll view, text, normal text, and then buttons, widgets, layouts, types of layouts, containers, maps, ads. So these are all the UI palettes. So you can use inside our app. So today we just develop a simple app. That means we are going to show some images and some colors inside our app. And when we click on the images and the colors, it will show what are they in the screen, and there may be some audio also played. So we are using a relative layout. So relative layout is nothing but it is a layout which creates a parent component, and using that component we can create another component. For example, see, this is a preview screen. So here layout. So inside the layout, I created a button. So button, match parent, wrap content, text, button. There you can see a button. There you can see a button with the text button 1. So width specifies the width of the component, height specifies the height of the component. Match parent means from the starting point to ending point. If we remove that match parent to wrap content, how much space it occupies for this text, it will occupies for the as the width and height. If we include some more things, based on that, the height and width will be extended. So this is my first component, and I specify one id button 1, and then I created another button, the same wrap content with the text button 2. So I already created a button, and now create another button which override in this place itself. So I have to specify where this button is going to be placed. So I mention it to right off or to end off. To end off. To end off which one? Button one. So it automatically comes to the end of button one. Button two will be appeared. No, I don't want to be the end of button one. I want to be it in below. So layout below, below B1. So it automatically comes again. So is the preview is our visible, ma'am?
Sir?
Ma'am, is the preview visible, ma'am?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yes, sir. Visible is the.
Okay, ma'am. Okay. So this is the thing behind the relative layout. If we changes to the linear layout, we don't need to specify the below option. It automatically comes to the right of button one because linear layout contains orientation. So orientation horizontal and vertical. If we default orientation is horizontal, so it automatically place the button to the end of the button one. If we change the orientation to vertical, it automatically comes below the button one. So these two layouts are the default and basic layouts for all kinds of application. So nowadays there is another layout called constraint layout also used, but constraint layout is also comes from the linear and relative layout. So now we are using a relative layout. So here we are not using a button. Instead, we are using an image view. Wrap content, wrap content. So before that, I have to place some images. So I have three images and I copy down inside the drawable folder. So here you can see three images: cat, dog, and then line. So here inside the relative layout, I create a linear layout. And then mention on ID, that means row 1. Image src cat. So here you can see a cat image. So here these are all the attributes. So most needed attribute is for all components is width and height. It's mandatory attributes. So other than that, we can use any attributes as optional one. So for relative layout, we don't need orientation. So here I mention weight sum. So weight sum is 3. I want to create 3 images inside this layout. So I mention weight sum, and for this image view, I mention layout weight as 1. And instead wrap content, I just created 100 dp as a width and 100 dp as height. So same thing I have copied and placed. Inside cat I mentioned dog, and then line. So these are the three images placed inside this layout. So as I already stated that linear layout defaultly used horizontal as a orientation. So in the horizontal orientation it will be displayed. So for each one I mention layout as weight as 1. So totally these three weights comes under this weight sum as 3. When we include some more images means we can increase the weight sum and properly assigned layouts weights. So then we create another linear layout. So here I create a text view as 100 dp, and then 100 dp. So here I mention id row 2, and then align parent bottom 2. So when I mention this attribute align parent bottom equal to true, it comes to the end of the screen. And here also I given weight sum as 3, and then here I giving some background given red color. So here there is an error or there is no name as red inside the color file. So we move on to the color file inside the values folder, colors.xml. There these are the three things which is common for all application: color primary drop, and color accent. So other than that, I created another color or color name red #ff0000, red color. So always use hexadecimal colors for color specification. So another color green 00ff00, and then blue #00. So we mentioned three colors. So these three colors are listed down. So now you can see the red color. So its weight also 1. So here I replace it with green and then blue. So at the top of the screen, we can see three images, and at the bottom of the screen, you can see three colors. Then we are going to create another screen called output screen. So linear layout, match parent, ID, row 3. In the row 3, above, layout above row 2, and then below row 1. So you can see blue color line which comes under the row 1 and comes above the row 2. So these two lines stated that only. So layout, this row 3, this layout which is above row 2 and below row 1. So here you can see this, and then there we can mention weight sum as 2, and orientation here I'm going to use vertical, so mention it as vertical, and there I insert an image view, and for image view I mention 150 dp, 0 dp, id, output. Layout gravity as center. Layout weight as 1. So here you can see the one image is centrally aligned. So you are not going to use source attribute to display some images. Instead, when we assign through the program only. That means if we click on this cat image, means cat image will appear here, and what is it? The text will be appeared below that image. So this is the output. So later I create a text view, wrap content, wrap content, mentioning size, text size 30 sp, scale pixel, id, output, text. So here also I'm mentioning gravity, so layout gravity center. So you can see this is text view, and above the text view there is one image. So this is the layout. So for this application we have created 3 layouts inside one layout. You see a relative layout. So first layout is the image layout, and then second one is the color layout, and then third one is the output layout. So when we click on this cat image, means the cat is displayed, and text also displayed cat. If we click on red color, means this background is appeared as red color, and a red text also appears. So this is the output we are going to create. So far we completed our design. So this is a simple app which is used for kids for to identify what is the name of this image, what is the name of this color. So as a beginner, we can develop a small application which is useful for kids. So now we move on to the Java file. So these code which are not typed, it will automatically comes when we create a new project. That means this is our class name which extends app compact activity. So As we learned that there are four application components: activities, services, broadcast receivers, and then content providers. So this application belongs to an activity. So extends activity on create. So this is one of the method inside activity life cycle. So this is the most usable method, um, which tells if an activity is created, what is going to be happen next. If its activity is created, it says the content viewers r dot live dot activity underscore main. For example, when we run this program means it simply displays the screen. So we just uh, see this output. So I have to run this program. So a device, it's a 6. Okay. So it will take some time to complete. So another thing, in between that time, we just go through this file and manifest.xml. So when we move on to this manifest.xml, you can see package name and then activity name. This is an important file in an application development. This is the supervisor for an application. Without knowledge of this file, we cannot do anything in our project. For example, if we use internet in our application, we have to ask permission inside this file. Like, see, users permission, users permission, and write colon name internet. I have to mention this internet permission file. If we not ask permission to this file, we cannot use the internet in our application. Even if we write a clear cut code. So there is an icon. This IC underscore launcher is a default icon. So label and then theme. So you can see the theme in styles.xml, dark action bar, and then which color primary, color accent. So multiple files. So here you can see in mipmap there are the same file for different devices. For different resolution: HDPA, high definition, medium definition, extra high definition, double extra, and then triple extra high definition. So uh, if you are using a device means you can see specification of that particular device in Google. You can see what density it is. It belongs to which resolution. It will displayed in that specification. So based on that, the images will be appeared on that particular device. We can use images both mipmap folder and drawable folder. So drawable is an older thing. Mipmap is a newer one, but no problem where we can use. So the application is compiled and now it's installing. So we can move now view the emulator. So here you can see the output of our program. So here you can see an action bar which displays our application name, a demo one. So here you can see and three images and three colors. So inside in the middle of that page we mentioned one layout, but we cannot implement what we have to do so in Java file. So we just display the design screen only. When we click on this, nothing will happen. We have to write code inside Java to make a dynamic application. So again, we move on to the coding section. So here I stop the application and jumps to the Java file. So here I'm going to create instances. So private linear layout output. So here I have created a linear layout object and then image view object and then text view. So text view output text red, green, blue. So after creating this, I mention the reference. It means output. So output equal to find view by ID row 2. In the row 2 only we are going to display the output. So output and then for output image find view by ID. So just clarification. Output is a linear layout object. It refers to the row 2. That means in the main.xml row 2. Row 2 is a linear layout. Oh, sorry, we have to mention in this row 3. So this is the output screen. So this row 3 and then image view ID is output. It is referred to this output image view. So here I mention as row 3 and then so r dot id means r is a reference to that id which name is row 3 and then cat is find view by id r dot id dot cat. I think we don't mention the ids for images. Yeah, we have to mention id cat line. Here you have to mention this thing also id red, green, blue. No, cat. So just replaces this dog, line, red, green, blue. So here I replace this dog, red, green. So for the above created objects, we just given some reference, and then for each images and colors, we are going to set some listeners. That means um, cat dot set on click listener. This for dog, red, green, blue. So each and every component have separate listeners. So this refers to the current object. So we have to implement an interface. View dot on click listener. So in this on click listener, there is a method called on click. So we have to implement that too. So on click, inside on click int id equal to v dot get id. So which id you are going to use? Here you can use this because there are six components implements on click listener. So which component is clicked, we have to identify. So only we get the id. So in the switch case, we get the id case r dot id dot cat. So if it is cat, if the clicked object is cat, means what will happen? So I have to mention, output output image dot set background get drawable this comma r dot drawable dot cat. Output text dot set text cat, and mention break. So I just implement only one logic for the cat. So I just implemented this program. So there are totally 6 controls. I just write the code for only one control. So when we click on the cat image, mention the output text reference and UPID output text. So here you can see the cat and then cat. The same one we are going to apply for other cases. Same code I'm going to copy for dog as well as line. So here I replace the code dog line. Here replace the cat as dog line. So cat dog line. So I start the application. Now I have the code for red. For red, I have to mention output dot set background color with color yes comma color red. So I'm not displaying the image. Instead, I set the background color as the red color and output text as red. So when I click on the red, it will display the whole background as a red thing with the text as red. So same thing I'm going to apply for other two colors, green, blue. So here I mention it as green, blue. Here replace the color with green, blue. So apply the changes. So now the whole application is ready. So when we click on the cat image, displays the image and then what is the name of that image? Cat, dog, line. When we click on the red color, red, green, blue. or whatever thing it may be replaced. So it's all based on the first click of that images. If we want to repeatedly implement our task means we have to set some boolean values, and based on that boolean values we display that images and text. So it's just a simple task which clearly explains what are all the basic things to develop the Android app. So these are the things basically needed to develop an Android app. And also, there are lots of things we have to do furthermore to launch this app in Play Store. It means we have to generate a signed APK, and we need a Play Console account. There we want to deposit nearly 3,000 rupees for registering our application, and then only we have to launch our app inside the Google market. So that's a lot of things uh, needed. But as this session will nearly just giving you all a hint to know about the Android programming. So if you have any queries related to this, you can ask. Ma'am?
Sir,
Ma'am?
uh, dear participants, if you have any doubts, please post your questions in chat box.
Participants, if you have any queries related to the Android app application development, you can ask through the chat box.
No one's. Is no chat box in any question inquiries. Sir,
Yes, ma'am.
okay, sir, they are giving very much. Only
Okay, ma'am.
thanks for us.
Okay, ma'am. Okay, ma'am.
Uh,
So, participants, this is my email ID and phone number. If you have further queries in future, you can ask through this mail or mobile.
okay, okay, sir, thank you. Thank you, sir. Your thoughts are really informative and highly worth. Thank you very much, sir, for spending your valuable time with us. Thank you once again. Dear participants, we wholeheartedly thank you for your being with us in this session. We also expect your full cooperation in this afternoon session. Once again, thank you, sir. Thank you, participants, and also afternoon session will be begin at 2:45 p.m. shortly.
Thank you,
Thank you,
ma'am.
sir. Hmm.
Thank you for your support.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, participants. Thank you.